Hello everyone, welcome to Yarkshire Gamer's monthly Wargames update. We're well into a year of doing these now, so I think everyone's well aware of the format. So just as a little bit brief introduction, it's been a little bit steady away month this month. None of the huge purchases that you're probably used to, and a limited amount of painting stuff done as well. It happens occasionally, it happens to all of us. I've reached a bit of a slump in the painting at the moment, and I've just been tinkering around on the edges of some new stuff, doing some test bases just to keep my interest in. But the usual big units that I've been pumping out over the last few months I've just dried up a little bit, and I've been painting for a long time and I'm used to this, so I kind of just let it ride, don't get stressed about it at all. And I know that in a week or maybe even in a month's time, the spark, the mojo will come back and we will be painting like a demon again. And I've got 3 projects lined up for the future. So there's lots of stuff to crack on with, and if you've been watching these, then you'll know there's the Arab-Israeli stuff that I've been building up an army for. Not started painting that yet. That's one of the projects I'm going to go on. Then I've got the reburst on World War II 15mm Kursk and the 28mm Italian Wars of Independence, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in this video. So grab yourself a seat, get yourself a brew, and I'll see you in a minute for some chat. So the only full unit I've done this month are these, and as you probably know by now, these were the work in progress from last month, and traditionally they come into the done and dusted from the lead pile to the paint pile. They're always first up. So these guys are 28mm Italian Spearmen for the Italian Wars, and these are the sorts, or one of the sorts of troop types that Italian city-states and condottieri would have used in their traditional style of fighting in the crossover period between the end of the medieval and the start of the Renaissance period. And then a load of guys from Central Europe turned up with some huge big sticks which were bigger than theirs, and the biggest pointy stick normally wins, unless you've got piler and short stabbing sword, obviously. So I've got these, and a company called Merleton in Italy make figures for this, but nobody else really does. So I was flitting around the internet for ages, and I got some ideas off, I think it was Simon Miller, who'd done something similar, and been sat on the too difficult to do pile for quite a while, and I'd done the big Swiss pipe block, and I thought, right, let's get some spearmen done. So here they are, and they are a mix of figures. So I'm just going to zoom in and come back to you in a second and chat about what we've actually got on the table here. So these figures are in the main 28mm Perry miniatures, and the bodies and most of the heads come from the mercenary box set, the one that based around Wars of the Roses, but lots and lots of people, including myself, used for the Italian Wars. And also in there are a number of Perrys do some separate metal heads to go with the plastic ranges. Italian, Swiss, etc. And I've added some of those in just to give a bit of variety when it comes to the heads on them, just to make a nicer unit. And unfortunately, there are no spear arms in that particular box set, so I've used the spear arms from Perry's French Agincourt infantry box set, and amazingly, they do fit quite nicely on the figures that I would normally use for the shot figures in the mercenary set. Pike ones don't work too particularly well, but they work really well on these. So I think the units come out really nicely. I think there are a few gaps in the figures here and there, but that's more my modelling skills than anything else. And then on top of those 2 box sets to produce this, I have got the shields, and the shields are again from Perry's, but they sell them in various different types of shields in packs of 36 metal shields, and I've got these Italian oval shields for these, and they work very well. I have done a blog post on these. There's quite a lot of information on them about how I've done various bits and pieces, so please pop down to Yorkshire Gamer blog and you'll pick up this one fairly quickly. The shields are done with homemade decals. This unit and the colours of the unit are based on a late medieval, early Renaissance reenactment group in Italy, and they very kindly sent me the artwork for these shields, and this is kind of a homage to their group. It's called Familionis, I think. That's my Italian's not brilliant, as you already know. But they were great, and they sent me that, and they've been really cool talking about stuff and equipment and what have you. So this is my homage to them, and the guys and girls in this reenactment group get dressed up in all this sort of stuff and do displays and live in history around Italy, the same that the Sealed Dot would do in the UK. So many thanks to them for the inspiration for the colours and the shields. So if you want to know how I've done the decals, I might do a tutorial on some more, but obviously I finished these. On the next unit I do with shields, which God knows when that will be. But if you want to see how I've done them or read how I've done them, pop along to the blog post. I've done these on slightly deeper bases. These are on 60 by 60, just to give it a little bit of protection to the low-lying spear. And 6 figures per base, and that's just to represent the looser formation that an Italian infantry would fight in, whereas my pike have got 8 figures per base. So a bit of shaky cam, we'll just move across gently across the unit and get the other side. Just so you've got an idea there. Flags again are home printed and supplied by the artwork supplied by Familia Leonis, and I've just printed them off on a really high quality paper and then done a little bit of painting in to provide a little bit of shadow. So there you go, a bit of a long chat on this unit, but I'm really proud of this because this is a unique unit. Nobody else has got one of these. They're kit bashed, they are homemade decals. So unless somebody copies this, and if you do, just give us a little nod. It would be grateful if I see another couple of these units lying around and people go, I've got this idea from Yorkshire Gamer, from Ken. Oh, hey, grand. Brilliant unit. I'm really pleased with these. Apologies if there's a little bit of a jump there. I dropped the camera. It's all working, obviously, as you can see. So yeah, as I was just saying, really proud of this unit. Really happy with them. Hopefully, Scrivs, Paul Smith, said he might send me some spare spear arms. So if you've got any Perry's Miniatures French Agincourt infantry spear arms that you don't want, drop me a line, yorkshiregamer at gmail.com, and I'd send them to me. I'll make loads of these and they'll look ace. So that's unit number 1, and the only unit I've actually finished this month. And the next this is what I call a test base. What I'll tend to do when I'm starting a new period or a new unit, something a little bit out of the ordinary for me, I'll do a test base of figures so that I know that I'm happy with the colours that I'm using, with the techniques I'm using, and that I'm ready to go forward and do a full big unit. So these are 28mm Italian Wars of Independence. So this is happening, as you can probably tell from the uniforms, around about the same time as the American Civil War and the Franco-Prussian War, the hyphenated wars, where everybody in Central Europe fought each other at some stage and stuck a hyphen between the two because they couldn't think of a name of the proper war. These are Papal Zouaves from my Papal States Army. You might see a bit of a theme growing. And I'm going to do a little bit of a Papal force. You might have seen, in fact you will have seen, if you watched last month or the month before, I got some Gringo 40s, St Patrick's Battalion, and you're going to see those in a minute on the work in progress. So this is 6 figures, all done up, and they are from a box of Perry's ACW Zouaves that I've had lying around for maybe 10 years. I bought them so I could use the stocking cap heads for some World War II. I can't remember the name of the unit now. A unit in North Africa that wore stocking caps, so I've had that box minus the stocking caps for years, and I thought, you know what, Papal Zouaves, these will do. But strangely, the Perry's ACW box doesn't have kepi hats, so I've bought some from Steve Barber Models, and they fit nicely with these Perry's. A little bit of a head stuck on look maybe makes them a little bit look a little bit more like Redoubt figures, somebody's mentioned on one of the comments, but generally I'm very happy with these. They are a very good look, and my intention for these is to build up a 30 figure unit, which would be 5 bases of 6 and then a 6 figure skirmish line in front of it. And there were 2 battalions of this. There were 1,500 Papal Zouaves at the Battle of Mentana, which is going to be my Analog Hobbies Winter Paint Challenge project. So these guys are just going to sit waiting to be joined by their comrades, starting on the 21st of December is when the painting challenge starts. Quite happy with those, and that's all I've painted to completeness this month. As I said before, slow month, but I've chatted a bit more about them, so we've got something extra to talk about. So let's have a look at Twerk in Progress. So here we have Twerk in Progress, and again this is a little bit of a tester for another one of the Italian Wars Independence units, and this is the St Patrick's Battalion, which you might have seen come in as fresh figures a month or a couple of months ago. And I've painted up the skirmish line for these, because again these will be a close order 30 figure battalion and a 6 figure skirmish line, and I'm very impressed with them, very much like them. But 2 figures done, and 4 figures in motion. They're not far off being done, to be honest. So let's just zoom in and have a quick look at the finished ones. Okay, so as you can see, these 2 guys are finished. They're just waiting for basing, and I'll base these 2 when the other 4 are finished. And as I said, really happy with how these figures have come out. Really unusual uniform, green for Irish St Patrick Battalion, obviously. Sort of a light mid to light blue collar, lots of yellow piping, and green plume on top of the helmet, or shako, sorry. Kind of a traditional Zouave uniform with the puttees, but it doesn't have the long coat, and the baggy trousers aren't as baggy. But yeah, we kind of got a Zouave feel here, really, haven't we? And the faces come out absolutely lovely. Love the guy kneeling down, firing. Got a real concentration, aiming kind of look about him. And the guy next to him is kind of saying, "You better hit him because I haven't loaded yet." So I'm looking forward to doing this as a full battalion, and I'm hoping I can wait until December to do them for the challenge, but you never know, I might sneak a few more of these in because I really enjoy them. So that's the close-up. And then here's just a little look at the other 4 guys in progress. The guy on the left he's had the base coat of the piping done, and I'm doing that with a yellow ochre base, and then just tiny picking the highlights with pure yellow over the top of it. So that's just got the yellow oak base on. The figures you saw before have had the yellow highlights put on. And then the three guys next to them are just waiting for their yellow to go on. I started falling asleep last night while I was doing it, and it's not something you can do when you're half asleep. We've got everything's painted apart from the yellow and then the gold buttons and detail on the shako and the faces and hands. So they're kind of nearly done. I could have pushed on last night and got those finished, but they'll be the first unit you see next month. So that's the 28mm Gringo 40s St Patrick's Battalion for the Italian Wars of Independence, work in progress. So it's time to have a look at what's new into Yorkshire Gamer. A little bit of a mini review on all the things that I've bought this month, and something I haven't done before. I don't know why. I've not really included books and stuff that I've bought. I used to be a huge book buyer, and I've reined right back on it now. I suppose same as many people, I get a lot of my information from the internet, but there was quite a lot of Italian language stuff out there for the Italian Wars of Unification or Independence, or the Risorgimento. I think that might be right. Italian viewers, please put me right. But not so much in English, and I'm really struggling at the moment to find a set of rules that are suitable for me. There's a set called Age of Valour that covers all those sort of areas, but it's brigade level and it's mishy-moshy fire and fury stuff that I don't really like. So anyone got any hints and tips out there for a set of rules? There is a set that an Italian guy's done, and there isn't an English version, and I would love to learn Italian, but I think I'll be shuffled off this mortal coil by the time I've learnt enough Italian to read a set of rules in Italian. So anyway, any suggestions, put them in the notes underneath. So this book is, as you can see, Osprey, Armies of the Italian Wars of Unification. Great little books, these. I always find them as like a beginner book, if you like, just to give some ideas. Some of them have got really, really good detail, some of them not so much. But worth having if you need an overview of a particular area that you're not very familiar with, which with this I'm not. And if you can see this guy here, he should look familiar. He is the St Patrick's Battalion from the Papal States, and those are the figures that we were just looking at a minute ago. And these, very similar format as you would expect. Lots of lovely colour plates in the middle, covering the minor states, if you like to call them, and some detail on the organisation and weapons of what you would call the minor states involved in the Italian Wars. So we've got the Papal Army, if we can just see there, a bit of shining. Papal, Tuscan, Medina, Parma, Revolutionary Armies, Central Italian League, and then Garibaldi's Volunteers, which is particularly useful for me because that's what I'm looking at, Garibaldi versus the Papal Army. So worth every penny, as they usually are. A little bit of a niggle with this one. It's not particularly brilliant on uniforms. It's not. It doesn't talk about like company distinctions and that sort of stuff. But that's a small niggle. It's got a really nice order of battle for the Papal Army, and well worth the money. So that's setting me on my way for the end of the year project. Something that I mentioned last month are these Battle Group Northag and tabletop miniature Wargames rules for World War III, and Plastic Soldier Company. And I've picked these up. I'm not intending to use them for this. I'm intending to have a look through this, and what I'll tend to do when I start a new project, I might buy 3 or 4 sets of rules. I'll settle on one, and then the others go off to anybody else who wants them. So this, I've had a read through this, and I don't play Battle Group, but I'm familiar with the World War II stuff, and it is my sort of rules. It's kind of got a little bit more detail in the Six and You're Dead stuff that is popular these days, and it reads through well. It looks like it'll work fairly well. It's got bits in it that restrictive in terms of the size of game that you're going to play with, like with the morale system. You know, that's not going to work when you go on a 20-foot table. So the basics are in there, and I will probably introduce a more random, a more friction-based activation system to this if I'm going to use it. Disadvantages of this: it's for the Soviet invasion of West Germany, and it's only got British and Russian stats in for vehicles, etc. So the Arab-Israeli stuff, somebody's done some rough sketches of stuff online on the Facebook group, included chieftains in for the Israelis, which was very bizarre. But the rest of it was okay. So I'm going to have a look at that. I'm going to try a game of this. I'm going to try a game of Team Yankee, again with a different activation system. Team Yankee, I go, you go, or I kill all your stuff and you've got nothing left to fight back with, is how it seems to work in Team Yankee. So yeah, looking forward to these. Little bit of detail, probably too much for a lot of people these days. There's a table there where you have to throw 2d6 against an armour factor. So that's going to be in a too difficult to do pile for quite a few people. Not a problem if it is, but that's the sort of style of rules I like. I like a bit of detail, and as I've said before, that will go back to my engineering background, and lots of tables and stuff in there with lots of data in relation to your troops, and that's what I love. So, Battle Group Northegg, maybe on a table near you fairly soon. Next up, some proper figures, and these are again from Gringo 40, the 28mm, and there's Jed, lovely guy. There's his card for Gringo 40s, and put a lovely message on the back. Enjoy the Garibaldi figures. Best regards, Jed. It's kind of, as I said repeatedly in this, it's going to be my big Christmas project, and what I'm doing is I'm just building up a stock of figures. I'll get all these deflashed and primed and ready to go for the Winter Hobbies paint challenge. I'm going to do a test base of these as well as the stuff I've done already, and these are Garibaldi's Volunteers and the red shirts, probably better known as, and again, if you're looking at the figures, they are absolutely superb. Look at that guy. He is lovely. Lots of facial detail, lots of crimples and folds in the clothing, which suits my style of painting down to a T. These will come up the absolute business, I can tell you that for now, just by looking at the figures. They are going to form two 24 figure battalions. The Garibaldi figures were slightly smaller, and they're very similar to American Civil War, but then you've got these guys with the Canterbury hat in, which is particularly nice. And yeah, looking forward to doing these. So that's 48 Gringo 40s Garibaldi Volunteers ready to be painted at Christmas. And finally, into the new pile this month. I've got some more Team Yankee stuff for my World War III mid-1980s Arab-Israeli stuff. And got these Iraqi unit cards for Team Yankee. The quite useful thing is, and give you an idea of stats and stuff, even if you're not going to use the Team Yankee rules. And because I'm buying a lot of Russian stuff for the Syrians, unfortunately don't do Syrian cards, so I've had to buy Iraqi cards, but they'll use mix and match fairly well. I think the Iraqis had a mix of sort of French stuff, a bit of American stuff, just from the various allegiances that they'd had prior to going in with the Russians. So you just take those out and you've got your Syrian stuff. So got those, very nice, very detailed. And just a little plug there, Panzer Command, fantastic service, fantastic delivery. I've had some problems with some companies where they've said stuff is in stock, I've ordered it and it isn't, and they take 3 months to put it through. these people, Panzer Command, never let me down so far. So big up for them. Give them a try. Everything I've ordered that was in stock, so I like that. Bought these. Just I needed another 25 quid to get free postage. So there you go. A couple of Skyhawks for my Israelis. Looking good. Looking forward to them. And finally, nice big box. We like these. Big load of T-62s, down as Egyptians, but they're going to be my Syrians. And you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tanks and a couple of anti-aircraft vehicles in that. So that's a bit of a awesome box set, and kind of built up what I want now. I'm going to get a box of Merkavas, and that will be it for the getting stuff inside of this project. And then once I've finished the Italian wars that I'm working on, this is going to be the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to get all these done in a wanna and be ready for a bit of on-table action. So that's what's new into the room this month. And for a review from the front line, we've got a couple of games that we've played this month. First one here, we're just looking at the embers of the final turn for our World War I naval game. And we're looking at the German battlecruiser Sedlitz being escorted by Magdeburg, a light cruiser, and a couple, well, there's 4 destroyers or torpedo boats just on the side there. And I'll lift up and use shaky cam. There's lots of debris on the table now because I'm just in the process of putting stuff away. But we did a little scenario where we had this ship here, SMS Goben, which served in World War I in the Turkish Navy, but it's not implausible that the Germans tried to get it back to Germany. And this was a little scenario that we had where the German fleet started off in the bottom corner of the table there. Goben with a light cruiser Stettin and 4 destroyers, and Blucher, the armoured cruiser. And although it's been cleared away now, the far end of the table is where Sedlitz and their supports came on. And then we had 2 British squadrons, one of which is over there between the boxes, based around 2 armoured cruisers, and then another one based around the battle cruisers Invincible and New Zealand. And they both British squadrons started in the same place, just to the left of the table. And as usual, on a 12-foot table, 12-foot by 6-foot table, everything degenerates into a tiny patch the size of a beer mat. And this is the end of the game here. New Zealand was down to like maybe, I'm just trying to think, it would have been about a 6th or a 7th of its damage points to start with, and Invincible was down to its last 40 damage points from best part of 3,000, and would have sunk the following round. So the British decided to call it a day there, and after a successful torpedo attack by the Germans, and not bragging, but that was me. And if you're looking at them, it's our own set of rules that I wrote about 25 years ago. They've been modified bits and pieces here and there, but we still very much enjoy them. And they are representative of shell places. They are actually, if you look on the bases, you can see we've got a ship name on there. We've got Sedlitz. And it's a record keeping mechanism for the game, and you will see a number of clear rings on the got upturned golf tee, classic old school stuff there, and that just shows we have a ranging phase and a firing phase. So you get 3 clear plastic rings on a ship, and they show that you're ranged in, and then the red Then you change to a different type of firing, and the red one shows that you hit the target last time, and that just gives you an extra dice. Very, very straightforward system, nice and visual as well. You just look at, you can see straight away whether you're ranged in or not. And having the name of the firing ship on the shell splash, again, makes things very, very easy. Again, some people have picked at them because they're much too big, but it's not a representation of a shell splash. It's part of the game process and a game mechanism that's designed to look like a shell splash. There's the aftermath of the torpedo attack, and then I'll just bring you back and just as a way of explanation, show you these. Try and get it so that you can see what it says. That's just one of the ship cards that we use, very old school. You can see at the top you've got a little picture of the ship and then some information. You've got a damage track down the right hand side, and then in the centre there we've got a 10x6 grid, which is the deck plan of the ship, which is where you work out where your hits have landed just by throwing a 10-sided dice and a 6-sided dice and cross-referencing. It's difficult. And then below we've got a table that just cross-references your guns with distance and broadside to give you the number of dice that you fire. Really, really straightforward for us anyway. I'm sure people would think differently, but we enjoy them. And I know people don't like record keeping these days, but it's not difficult. And here's a destroyer. That's what we use for our games, and I hope that's a little bit of a insight into our World War I naval games. Maybe one day I'll put up a how the rules work on YouTube. Oh, so thanks for watching, and there's a little bit of a talk through of the other game we played here this month following this. So the other game we played this month, actually the first game that we played since lockdown, was Spanish Civil War, using our own rules again, and just flicking through some photographs of the battlefield here. I'll put a big update on about what happened in the battle fairly soon on the blog, but my friend Roger, who attended the game, has put some updates on his own blog, GAPA, so bob over there and have a look. And welcome to the Scores on the Doors phase. My personal, I don't know whether anyone even watches this bit, but it just helps me keep a track on where with followers and stuff. Up across the board again, slowed down quite a lot. We had a very, very busy month again last month in terms of new followers, but I was putting a lot of new stuff up, and there was the Swiss Pike block that was very, very popular. And whereas this month I've not really done that much, so no surprises there. Up 10 on Facebook. Amazed anyone can follow anyone on the new Facebook format. With if anyone's got a blog page that's now on Facebook, what a nightmare it is. Up 27 on the Twitters. Lovely crowd on there. Love you all. Sean, Alex, Jesus Christ, there's loads of them. Nick from Two Fat Lardies, the Lardies, Sydney Roundwood, all those guys and girls, and all those in between who make Twitter such a fantastic and lovely place. In all the years on Twitter, I've only had one spat with somebody, which is pretty amazing, really, when considering if you go on a forum like TMP, you can have an argument in your first post. And in fact, one of my favourite things with TMP is to wait and see how long it takes to get a negative comment, and it's normally pretty quick, to be fair, especially if Palm Tree Man turns up. I've not seen him for a while. Hope you're well, mate, and arguing with people about palm trees somewhere in your own little corner of the internet. Instagram up 134, slowed down a little bit, but I'm not surprised with that, to be honest, because it went crazy recently with 400-500 people per turn, but I've tipped over 2,000, which is fantastic for Instagram for a wargaming account, and that's kind of my most popular place at the moment. YouTube's 952, up 53 again. If I can do that again next time, I'll be up to the magic 1,000 subscribers. So if you don't subscribe, it doesn't cost anything, and I only put 2 or 3 videos in a month. So please give us a subscribe, give us a sub, and I'll get to that magic 1,000 hopefully for next month. And then the podcast, up 21, which is quite a nice big growth there, to 108, and I'm loving doing the podcast at the moment. It's a bit of a treadmill doing 2 a month, so I'm keeping that under review. I've just sent another load of invites out to people to try and get a group of people ready to do episodes. If you've got any suggestions for guests, put them in the link below, in the messages below. Always happy to, especially if they're from outside the UK. Very, very keen to get people in. I've got somebody from Australia coming on. Simon, just been on recently from South Africa, although he's from Burnley. He lives in South Africa. And I've sent some invites out to people in Italy. Let's see how we get on. Language barrier some places, but I'd love to speak to people from all over the world. And I had my first outdoor broadcast this week. I went down to Elite Miniatures and spoke to the lovely Pete Morby down there. And I really want to bring some light on his figures and the stuff that he's doing, because he's not a... somebody described him as like a legacy manufacturer. He's not. He's doing stuff now, and it is brilliant. It is the business, and the way he puts his figures together, he designs them so that they look the business in a big 36, 48 figure, 28mm unit, and that's what my podcast is all about, and it's about what my gaming's all about, to be honest. Big units looking the business. So if you've not done already, give us a listen on the podcast. It comes up on YouTube a couple of weeks after, and I know a lot of people, probably 400 or 500, listen to them on YouTube, so that's brilliant. Once again, my heartfelt thanks to everyone who follows me, all the people who take time to comment. If you have any questions, if you want to talk to me about stuff, if you've got suggestions, apart from having a red rose as my logo, I'm going to tell you to do one if you suggest that. Drop me an email on YarkshireGamer at gmail.com, and I'm gladly help you out with whatever I can. So that's Team YG, and that's coming to the end of our monthly update. So that just leaves me to do a little outro. Thanks once again for watching the monthly update. We'll be back again on the 20th of July with a new update, and looking forward to, we should have had a couple of podcasts out by then. And gaming wise, we are starting a big Italian Wars drive here, so there'll be a report on Italian Wars action. Painting, I've got a big load of horses to do and more Italian Wars cavalry, so that's the next stuff on there, if I can stop mucking about with the Italian Wars of Independence. And I might have made a start on my Arab-Israeli stuff by the time we come back. Purchases next month, I'm looking at getting some more Italian Wars of Independence, so keep an eye out for those, and some Merkava tanks. And yeah, it's going to be a busy month. Our Wargames club is going to open up again with a few maybe over the top restrictions, but restrictions nevertheless. We've been gaming here now for 3-4 weeks. And it's been great having people back in the games room and gaming face to face again. So look forward to seeing you in a month's time. Hope you have some cracking games. Enjoy your painting, enjoy your hobby, and I'll see you again next month. See you.